So there it's recording. Now, I'm going to take a moment whilst you are writing these down or checking your work to say this. Something I have noticed a lot, not just this year, but in the 20 years I've been teaching math, you people will try some homework, and you'll try one or two questions, and then you'll start to wonder if you're doing it right. And rather than try and continue, you'll stop, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Does this in any way affect your grade right now? No. So why wouldn't you try it? What if you did it all right? Then you've had practice and you're in good shape, yes? What if you stopped on this very first question, even though you did it right, but you weren't sure you did it right? Then what has happened to you? You have lost out on all this practice. We have moved on, and now you are going to be behind doubly. Does everyone understand? Attempt your work. The worst thing that can happen is I put up the answers, and yours are wrong. Oh no, whatever will we do? Perhaps we will correct them. Okay? And I know this is happening in the class because I heard as I put up these answers, a bunch of people say, oh, so I was doing it right. Which means they have some of it done and then stopped. I do not understand that. There are all the answers. Please check them over. Again, if you didn't do this page, you're going to want to do it. This will be the first part of any video that we have today. Possibly the only video that we have today. Because it takes you guys a long time to do quizzes, and I want to mark that quiz. Oakley dokley. Oakley dokley. I'm going to take a moment, let you soak this in a little bit, and then I'm going to do something else before I give you your quiz. Because I have to make sure. Oh, no, I am going to tell me the ratio of each indicated angle. And I want a fraction and a decimal. So I want the sine of z, which is opposite, 40, over hypotenuse, 50. I will accept that. But you also need 0.8. I will accept that. Now, since it says go to the nearest thousandth, this really should be 800, shouldn't it? And this really should be 4 over 5, shouldn't it? But I am in a charitable mood. And if you have those two things, at least you get the full mark available to you. Okay? Okay. If you have, of course, 4/5, you keep still that 1 mark. Over here, I would like the cos of x, which is, of course, 27 over 36, which is, of course, 0.6. I will also accept, of course, 3. No, it is not 0.6. It is point.
Yeah, isn't it
45, not 36. It is 45. And then it is 3/5, which is 0.6. 1 mark, not 2 marks. Silly Myers. And finally, the sine of c. That is 9. No, it is 12, because I wanted sine over 15, which is, of course, 0.8 again. For another single mark. Now we come down to here. Find the missing side. You have a theta, it is 49. You have an adjacent, it is 10. You need an opposite, it is x. So, it is tan 49 equals opposite x over adjacent 10, 10, tan 49. And I don't know what the answer is because I don't have it memorized. But it should be somewhere around 11 because the tan of 45 is 1. Great. 11.5 to the nearest 10th. 1 mark, because you only had to do one thing. Here, you have a theta. It is 62. You have an opposite. It is 17. You have an adjacent. It is x. Tan of 62 is 17 over x. So, of course, x equals 17 divided by tan 62, which is 9. Sounds good to me. And finally, you have a theta. There's a pattern here. 68. You have an opposite of 17. You need an hypotenuse of x. Sine of 68 is opposite 17 over hypotenuse x. So x equals 17 divided by sine 68, which gets you 18.3. 1 mark each. Now, down here, all you had to do was tell me the angle. You could have used sine, you could have used cos, you could have used tan. I don't care. This one is 71, if I'm not mistaken. This one is 37, if I'm not mistaken. So making the first page out of 8. You will then turn the page over. This one, I do not remember. 53 sounds about right. This one is 37. This one is 32 over... Okay, fine. 40? 28. 28. And this one is 16. Now, I would like for yous to put your actual score out of 12 on the other side of your name. Now, I screwed up those first two, so I actually ended up with 10 out of 12, didn't I? All right. And because it has caused so much consternation and difficulty to ask you to write a score on your test, I'm going to ask you to hand your quizzes to me. Whilst you are making sure page 64 is done, I will enter those quizzes into checkmymark.com. So mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa, auntie, uncle, pet rock, whoever is in charge of you, can see how wonderfully you're doing in trigonometry. Siobhan, you kicked your estimate's ass. Nice work. Now, did you do that thing that kids do where you estimated low because you thought you were going to do better? Or is that an honest estimate? Nicely done. No, you kicked yours. Your estimate's ass. Hayden, you kicked yours.
I got 12 points. Well, that's
I got one more than one I thought.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize at the lack of hole punching. When I send things to the printer, it gives me the option to tell the printer to hole punch it. But as you can quite plainly see, it does not hole punch. Please make sure page 64 is done. Thank you, Haram. Pardon me, Lassa? What will happen to who? The same thing that always happens to you when you don't do your homework. I go, shame. And then if you do well on your test, I don't care. The only time it bothers me when people don't do their homework is when they do poorly on the test and then come to me and complain that it is something I did wrong. That pisses me off. But if you know what you are doing, you are welcome to do as little as you wish. Now, I have to stop recording or everyone will see all of your